A 6 can become a 9 depending on how you look at it. A 6 can become a 9 depending on how you look at it. Now imagine a year without a summer. In 1815, one of the biggest volcanic eruptions ever recorded happened in Southeast Asia. The results were catastrophic. Global temperatures lowered. Even the Thames River froze over. Crops failed and starvation set in. You can imagine the scenes. There was rioting. It said that farmers had to even eat their own horses just to survive. A 6 can become a 9 depending on how you look at it. Now from this negative situation, a young inventor called Carver Andre rose from the ashes and decided to invent a new mobile contraption as a response to the shortage of horses. This had 2 wheels, and even though it didn't go as quick as horses could, it was much quicker than walking. Looks familiar? That's right. That was the first bicycle ever invented. Now, although Carl's invention has been iterated many times, it can be argued that if that volcanic eruption never occurred, his invention may never happen. Plato once said, necessity is the mother of invention. You can realize a revolutionary invention can be birthed in times of turmoil and disadvantages. Growing up less privileged in council estates in southeast London, you have to tackle and overcome many challenges such as poverty, violence, lack of opportunities, and lack of role models. However, I've realized that these challenges have actually been the catalyst to my Mucinex genes, providing me with unique experiences and character disciplines which have become my powers. I've transferred these skills and they've allowed me to maneuver through the corporate and entrepreneurial world. I didn't realize at the time, but as I said, a 6 can become a 9, depending on how you look at it. Now, using my story, I'm going to help demonstrate how difficult situations can actually help to develop important skills and traits which can actually provide you with advantages. The first advantage of being disadvantaged is developing the power of gratitude. When I was 2 years old, my parents moved from Nigeria to come to London for a better life. When they arrived, they took whatever jobs they can get. My dad worked at McDonald's and my mother worked as a cleaner. I remember my parents having to always work multiple jobs just to sustain the house. We may have seemed better off than our family back home, but we lived in poor accommodation and council estates. Growing up, I didn't have my own bed, let alone my own room. I shared a single room with 2 of my siblings and a single bed with my little brother. Growing up in these conditions, it meant I was forced to develop and live in a perpetual state of gratitude. When you come from nothing, you're forced to cherish everything. When you're used to scarcity rather than abundance, you have to find a way to see opportunities when others may only see challenges. And that is the fundamental reason and fundamental skill that a lot of young people growing up communities mine have to develop. The ability to cherish what you have and appreciate what you have, but know it's not enough. You have 2 options. 1, succumb and accept your reality. Or 2, decide to change the situation and find a way. I chose the latter, and that's what's made all the difference. Growing up, violence was normalized. 3 kids in my school were stabbed and murdered. It was like we was used to school kids just losing their life at a young age. And it still upsets me that to this day, that I had to get used to young people not even seeing their 18th birthday. In year 12, I remember going to a memorial for one of my friends who just lost his life. And there, we came to celebrate his life, and there, a motivational speaker talked about the importance of mentorship and taking action on your dreams. After his talk, I was so moved that I ran after him. And I said, please, could you be my mentor? He said yes. And through his advice and wisdom, I was able to channel my passions and be able to develop my own youth empowerment platform, which shares positive stories around underrepresented young people, and also work with large brands to help them connect and engage with diverse Gen Z audiences. A negative experience, a positive outcome that came from a negative experience. The second advantage of being disadvantaged is developing the power of hard work and self-reliance. Growing up not getting what you wanted, but having the strong desire to change your situation, you learn from a young age, if you want something, you have to get it yourself. In school, a massive importance was placed on your reputation. You had to have the freshest trainers, the latest phone, and the freshest haircuts. I didn't have those luxuries. I didn't have the Nike trainers. I didn't have the BlackBerry or iPhone. And I definitely didn't have the haircut, because my dad used to cut my hair. So I was fed up. And guess what I decided to do? Age 14, I started to sell snacks in school so I can create an income, just so I can find a way to get a haircut from a professional barber. But by doing this, it taught me skills about business, and also it taught me about the importance of creating value. I got so good that my school tried to shut down my operation. So what did I do? I got the exact same bag from the pupils of my class. And I also built a very good relationship with a teacher in the school. So when I was being told there was going to be searches, I was quickly swap bags with that pupil, putting my planner in his bag. And when he searched me, they'd open my bag and be gobsmacked that there's nothing was in there. I'll get away. Without realizing, I was practicing risk assessing, scenario planning, and stakeholder management. Key and important skills that I use today in my job and in my businesses. The third advantage of being disadvantaged is developing the power of imagination. After I left secondary school, I was fortunate enough to get into a selective grammar school in Westminster. My school had mirrored the curriculum of a private school nearby, and also they took an old government building and reformed it to make it our school building. As a result, my experience was very different from my secondary school. First of all, the location. I had to travel from my council estate in South London to Westminster every single day, and that was a massive distance, but it meant I got used to seeing the Big Ben and London Eye every day. By mirroring the curriculum of a private school, it meant that I had to come into school 6 days a week. That's right. Saturday morning, I was in a suit and tie on my way to Westminster like a very eager salesman. We even had assemblies in Westminster Abbey, the same place royals were wedded. Now, although A-levels was a very difficult experience for me, being exposed to an environment that I wasn't really used to, that I only saw on TV, meant I was able to change what I thought was possible for me. Living on that council estate on the outskirts of a more affluent area meant that the experience was really surreal. You see, wishing for a new future and wishing for a new, better future is one thing, but being able to physically see it in front of you is completely different. There was days I would walk down this exact same road, walking past massive houses with 2 cars in the front way and massive gardens. And I would then imagine myself one day coming out of those houses and getting the post in the front porch. And then after that walk, I would go back to my reality, a 2-minute walk away, back to my council estate. It felt like a completely different world. Having these experiences, I might have been physically stuck on my estate, but mentally I set myself free. And that's one of the fundamental things that young people growing up in the community have to develop. Now, my family moved out of the council estate and we live in a house now with a garden. It's not a mansion, but it's everything I wanted growing up. When you come from a less privileged community, you have to have the power of imagination, because you have to see yourself where you are now and see how you can get to where you want to be. You have to almost remove the concept of limitations from your mind. If your mind can imagine it, your hands can create it. The fourth advantage of being disadvantaged is developing the power of courage. After leaving sixth form, I was lucky enough to get into a degree apprenticeship scheme working at a FTSE 100 company. When I first started, I knew I had a goal, and my goal was to one day hopefully meet the CEO. I didn't know how, but I knew if I had someone like that in my network, someone as a role model, I will be able to develop my career. So a few months in, one day I got an email and it was called Breakfast with the CEO, Law of Attraction. I knew it was my opportunity. It was a chance for new employees to listen to the CEO talk about his plans for the company and also ask questions. When I got to the event and people were asking questions, I started doubting myself. What if I say the wrong thing? What if he says no? What if I get myself fired? And then when I started having those doubts, I asked myself 2 questions. Sam, you have been in life-threatening situations before. Is your life at risk right now? No. In 5 years' time, will you regret the fact that you didn't take action on this opportunity? Yes. So after that, I took a massive deep breath. I put my hand up and I said, hi, my name is Sam Okusaga. I'm 18 years old. I'm a degree apprentice at this company. I would love to learn from you. Please, would you be my mentor? He said yes. And I'm happy to say that the past 3 years, I've been mentored by John Fallon, the CEO of Pearson. And it's been a surreal experience. Being able to manage your fear, having the power of courage is very important, an important life skill to have. Because the thought is always more scarier than the act itself. The 5th and final advantage of being disadvantaged is the power of resilience. Resilience is the power of a champion, the ability to go after challenge without giving up on yourself. Telling yourself it's not over until you win. You see, when I was 17, my life changed forever. I had to turn from a boy into a man so I could nurture another boy into a man. I was nowhere ready for that level of responsibility. Having a child at age 17 is probably one of the greatest challenges, but also one of the greatest blessings. I had to develop resilience every single day for the past 3 years, because every single day I failed, but every single day I learned. Every single day I got knocked down, but I had to look back up because I made a promise to my son that I would keep moving forward. Because it's not about how many people want to see you fail. What matters is how many people need you to win. You may have had a tough upbringing. You may have been born less privileged. You may be going through tough experiences right now. But I urge you to keep believing and to keep moving forward and to see how your unique story can make you revolutionary. Because when you shift the lens, when you shift your perspective, and you start to see the advantages of being disadvantaged, your 6 can become a 9, and you can realize how close you are to a 10.